All right, guys, welcome back to the Beggars Canyon Boys. This is episode 23. I'm Jackson here, joined as always by my beautiful co-host Ryan, and we're back. We took a little week off last week, some scheduling issues, but we're back, and we're better than ever, and we're ready to hit the ground running. And we're talking about a pretty mixed bag of stuff today, I would say, but it's another comic heavy episode. We've got three miniseries that we talked about. We got first Mara Jade by the Emperor's Hand, Jedi Academy Leviathan, and Crimson Empire 2 Council of Blood. We'll also probably briefly talk about the Droid Works edutainment video game from Lucas Learning, as well as a book, Star Wars Incredible Cross Sections. But yeah, before we dive into the content, you got anything you want to say to the audience, Ryan?
I do. You know what I got recommended on YouTube the other day, and I watched it, and it was just the two cultural icons coalescing, and inspired by the Super Bowl halftime show, I guess. I saw Not Like Us parody, but it was done by Yoda.
Wow, pretty dangerous thing to watch.
I know, but I had to watch it because I got recommended it, and it had like 2,000 views. So I was like, okay, this is like gold that they're offering up to me.
Yeah,
I think it was called Like Us They Not. So
oh, nice.
Shout out to anyone who wants to go check out the Like Us They Not Yoda parody of Not Like Us.
Damn. Well, I'll have to go check it out. Did you get any prequel spoilers in there?
Not that I know of. I mean, maybe there's some double entendres that are like spoilers in there, but yeah, nothing. They mentioned Anakin by name, but I think he was mentioned by name in the original trilogy anyway. So yeah, okay, yeah. So no, we're good. Although I do have a slight issue with it because there's some fact checking that needed to go on with this parody. Because like the A minor line, they changed it so it goes like Vader can only beat a Jedi if they were probably A minor, which we know is false. We see it in the first movie. Vader beats an elderly Jedi, Obi-Wan Kenobi. So
yeah, you're right.
That's wrong. That's not right. So
well, very true. Very
so maybe
true.
don't go check out this parody.
Dude, I mean, he's killed plenty of adults, so I'll shout it out. They Like Us They Not Yoda diss track by Jade Charisma.
Like Us They Not. Like Us.
I'll have to watch this. I kind of want to like watch it right now and I don't know. I'll edit this out, but I was thinking like maybe I could like share the screen and we could give it a look.
Hey, if we want to live react to it, I'm game, man. I've listened to it like twice now.
Well, let's do it. Let's do it.
And okay.
Dead people I see. Master no. On the beach Yoda is. I master with the force I'm a whiz. 8 toes down I stand on the piss. Who left Anakin alone with the kids? Yeah, a bitch Vader is. Trouble with the shots, boy, all you do is miss. Take Vader out, be missed you will not. Faced Obi-Wan every time you forgot. Cause you ain't nothing to achieve, boy. Dark side tricks, but I see through your ploy, boy. Breathe through machines, your whole body is a toy, boy. If Yoda you would fight, you would be destroyed, boy. You unstable,
I
boy.
don't
I'm your biggest hater, boy. Certified.
Dude, this is hard.
Vader,
This
boy.
is hard.
Wah, wah, wah. Yoda FM up. Wah, 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 wah. Watch me do my stuff. Vader, are you tired? The only Jedi you could beat is probably A minor.
Okay.
Wrong. Incorrect.
Yep. All right. Well, I think.
Wait, there's like two more there's like
I think we got a good preview of it.
okay.
I feel like there weren't really many specifics in there. He was just kind of like saying stuff.
That's what's really funny about it, honestly, I think, because even if you go on and listen further, it's basically just Not Like Us. Like, he doesn't change too much of it. And he just does it in Yoda voice. So,
Well, and it's also not really a very good Yoda impression. I'm sorry, JD Charisma. Hey, you put the effort in.
I was gonna say, we shouted this guy out. Now we're ripping him apart.
I'm just being honest.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, that's what's been on my mind.
Well, thanks for sharing that with me.
Yeah.
You know, on the note of Star Wars song parodies, this is just a little teaser for you. I may have mentioned this before. I can't give you any details on this, but when the Phantom Menace came out, Weird Al released another Star Wars parody. So we've been a big fan of his Yoda song, but he made another one that is to the tune of American Pie. You know that song?
No, just like I didn't know the other song, and I'm not going to listen to the original, so I'm just going to know these parodies as the original.
You know, Miss American Pie drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry.
This is the one that goes, bye, bye, Miss American Pie.
Yeah,
okay, that's the only part I know. I don't know the part you sang.
That's the next part. That's the next line.
Right.
So it doesn't matter. I didn't know the song when I was a child and first listening to the Weird Al parody. We will definitely have to give it a listen after we watch Phantom Menace, because it is literally just an entire plot summary of the whole movie, and it's really pretty good.
Why don't we just listen to that then
instead of watch the movie?
Yeah, wouldn't that save time?
Probably a good way to. Yeah, it's like 5 minutes. It's kind of a long song, so
that's sort of like my whole. The whole reason I'm doing the podcast with you and going through all these Star Wars stuff to save time. You know?
Right. We've been going about it in the quickest way possible. So
yeah. What, dude? When did we start doing? We're gonna get to the prequels here after what? A year?
Almost. We started it in July, I think.
Nice, and we're about to hit movie 4. Awesome.
Yeah. Well, hey, we'll hit movies 2 and 3 a lot sooner than between 6 and 1, but yeah, I guess movie 5 and 6. Yeah. Whatever. And we'll start getting to a lot more stuff to watch too. All the cartoons start coming out. And those are all, not all, but a lot of those are very much worth watching, and some of the best Star Wars stuff, period. So,
okay.
I'm excited.
I saw I get recommended so much Star Wars stuff now all across social media. I have to be so careful now. But I saw a Reddit post, and I forget what it was this or that. I forget what one of the options was, but it was would you like to see a Return of the Jedi redone in the style of the Clone Wars animated show? Would you like that, or would you prefer this other thing? Oh, which I think was a live action Clone Wars movie or something. So yeah, I can tell there's a big following about that.
Yeah, probably need neither of those things, but
to me, getting no offense to the animation style of the Clone Wars, it doesn't look super great to me. I haven't watched it, so that's really a judge a book by cover opinion. But I don't want to see Return of the Jedi animated, I guess, at all.
No. I mean, maybe if they did it in an anime style, like the mangas we read, then I would be interested in that. But yeah, the Clone Wars animation style is definitely an acquired taste, and it gets better as the seasons go on. And certain things are always a little ugly, but I don't know. I feel like you start to grow to love it.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm trying not to cast prejudgment on it before I actually experience it.
No, I feel you though. It's a little odd looking, but well, shall we dive into the stuff for today?
Yeah. Where do we want to start today, Jackson? Which of these comic series would be? I'm switching it up. I'm making you pick.
Okay. I guess we can start with Crimson Empire 2. I guess that was probably the beefiest of everything that we read, or the most interesting. to me at least. What did you think? This is sorry, I know I just asked what you think, and now I'm going to talk a little more. Crimson Empire 2, Council of Blood, once again written by Mike Richardson and Randy Stradley, who wrote the last Crimson Empire miniseries, drawn by Paul Gulacy, who also drew the last one. Yeah, and as the title would imply, this is actually a sequel to Crimson Empire.
Cool title, too.
Council of Blood, yeah.
Yeah, I dig it.
I agree. Yeah, give me your overall impression of this one.
I enjoyed it. I didn't enjoy it as much as the first one, so I'd be interested to hear if you felt the same way. But I also wish Kirk Canos was in it more than he was. I guess it felt like it was he was not super present in the first few issues of it, and then sort of starts to be more present towards the end of the storyline and everything. It was cool. I liked it. I liked the whole like council of folks dropping sort of one by one, and they think it's Kirk Canos and all that. What I don't like really though is, and I don't know if this is a red flag for like moving forward in the Star Wars universe, but like the clone utilization here, which I think is the first real time we've had a clone at least like replace someone like this, and there's the kidnapping and everything. I didn't feel too hot about that. I guess I don't know. It was like a weird little interjection there, and I was like, the story feels like this is a completely different thing than like what we were going with. So I don't know.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, and I think they. It was a little messy, like a little too many moving pieces going on to keep track of, that they didn't really like focus on properly for some of them. Some of the storylines I think work pretty well, but I agree with the cloning thing in particular. Like, it's pretty confusing, and I understand that like it was that one Black Sun guy that had the Sparty cylinders that, you know, we learn about in freaking Heir to the Empire, and also we learned in the last one that like the bad guys, Carnor Jax or whatever, like paid to sabotage Palpatine's clones and things. So it's building off of that a little bit, but it never really makes a lot of sense and doesn't really pay off in a super interesting way either.
Yeah, how honest are we allowed to be on this podcast? Can I be so honest?
We can be brutally honest.
As far as this comic goes, I honestly don't like it so much for the Kirk Canos stuff. But you know what I do like this comic for a lot? And maybe it's silly. I think Grabba the Hutt is awesome.
That's what I was about to say. Yeah.
All his, like, for some reason, those are the most captivating moments of this comic. And the Xanabar, is it?
Yeah, the Xanabar. Scary.
Really, yeah, those dudes are terrifying.
Yeah.
And, you know, I thought we're getting another Hutt character, and I'm like, oh my god, another job up, copy and paste up in here. But this guy's kind of cool. I kind of dig him. I kind of dig the terrible situation he gets himself sucked into, where he's like, he's trying to lie to everyone basically to save his own hide. Reminded me when like Talon Card was trying to play both sides there for a second, except this is just him trying to like save his hide on both sides, which is a fun subversion of that. So yeah, I dug him. I want to hang out with him. He's a cool guy.
He'll kill you.
I want to go to that party that he hosted.
Where he killed everyone and put all the dead bodies on his ship and exploded it over
Dude, I thought we were being honest on this podcast. You exaggerate literally so much. He didn't kill everybody. He left the
one guy, yeah, his one mercenary friend. Yeah, I agree. I really liked him. And I think, yeah, at first I also rolled my eyes like, man, we've already had so many Hutts in the comic books appear that are, you know, essentially all kind of the same type of guy. Except I guess we had that one in Tales of the Jedi that was actually a nice one and was trying to help out those twins. But
yeah,
Grappa is.
But we saw what happened to him. I just have to throw in there. When you're a nice Hutt, that's what happens. So
yeah, you get screwed. Grappa is really funny though, and I think they do a great job of building the pressure and making him sort of like a tragic character almost, where like he just can't like stop being an idiot, like, and he has all these spinning plates and it's all gonna come crumbling down because he keeps backstabbing everybody. But like, you know, he's kind of just constantly doing like, no, but if I do this thing, or if I lie about this, then I can save myself for like 30 seconds here and stuff. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. I like. Obviously, this is so hyperbolic and a crazy extension of how I would see myself, but partly like him killing everyone at the party just to hide one little mistake. I'm like, yeah, that's a little relatable. Like, I've definitely blown things up before just to like try and fix one of my mistakes, you know?
Yeah,
like, and it
yeah.
just made everything a million times worse. Obviously, I've never killed a boatload of people, but
Okay, I'll take your word for it, but I know, I believe you. No, I know what
Don't
you
make
mean.
me.
I mean, there is, yeah, like, you know, in any of these awful people, it's fun to find like little things of like, well, yeah, I obviously wouldn't do that specific thing, but I can relate to the thought process or the emotion behind it or whatever. Like, yeah, he's funny.
yeah, I think it's cool that like what they were doing with the plot with Kirkanos going undercover as a bounty hunter for him. Although I also think it's funny that he just used was it like an anagram and code of his name actually?
Yeah,
and so
yeah.
and like people were able to figure that out. So it's like, okay, that maybe wasn't the smartest move.
Kennick's kill.
But, yeah.
Yeah, and it was like, they said like it was in the secret language only known to the Imperial Guards. But they figured it out pretty easily.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mirith Sin is back. You know, oh, I want to kill Kurkanos, but actually I just want to kiss him. I mean, how many women have we seen like this in Star Wars stuff already?
Yeah. And hey, she gets her kiss though.
Mm-hmm.
How many times does that happen? Probably a fair amount. Also, actually, I don't know.
Yeah.
R2D2 stats on Star Wars kisses, please. Actually, didn't we have a conversation like very early on in like the Bantha letters column or whatever, where someone was like, there is one half kiss, one kiss, and one hug in like A New Hope or something.
Yeah. It was a guy interviewing Mark Hamill for the Bantha Tracks thing, and he's like, yeah, hopefully I get to kiss her in the next one or whatever. And he's like, well, actually, you did get a kiss on the cheek, one hug, and it was, yeah, pretty
I'd like
weird.
to see his reaction to that. Okay.
Yeah, like, oh, yeah, okay.
I guess so.
Um,
But yeah, she annoys me though. Frankly, this character, I don't know what it is about. Maybe it's just because she's like, I don't know. They shouldn't. I'm like, they shouldn't be working together at this point. Like, I do get it to some degree, but also like, I don't know.
yeah, it feels weird and kind of pointless. Like, this whole thing, like, is a little disjointed. Like we mentioned, like it's got the stories of, I mean, yeah, we've been talking about Grappa the Hutt, Kurkanos, Mirith Sin. All of this is not even really like what the main meat of the story is. I mean, I guess we mentioned the council. There's, you know, a council of Imperials that are trying to consolidate power and rebuild the Empire after the Emperor's death, and they, you know, in typical Imperial fashion, can't get along, stab each other in the back, and there's this idiot guy, Carivus, who gets put in charge and starts fancying himself a new empire or a new emperor, and he's got like this shadowy figure, Nom Anor, who is who's influencing him from behind the scenes, and we don't really ever learn anything about Nom Anor in this.
Do you know though? Do you know who he is?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm like, he's got to be a Force user. He has to be. He simply has to be. So you're allowed to tell me, because it doesn't make sense if he isn't.
But what if it was a whole new thing that you didn't even know about yet.
Ooh, he's one of the wizards from the witch planet.
Of Dathomir? No.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No, he's not. But
Okay, so you can tell me that, but you can't tell me if he's a Force user or not. What spoilers are okay and which ones aren't? I thought we were honest here.
well, we're trying to be honest. We're trying, dude. It's insane actually how I will tell you this. He's got a massive bio on Wikipedia.
Wow, really? Well, he had plans, and he mentioned there's like, I don't know if what he said exactly, but there seems to be some type of benefactors that he's also like working among. So, dude, if it's another Palpatine clone, I'm losing my mind.
Yeah, it is. I'll spoil it. It is another Palpatine clone.
Not.
No, it's not. It's not. Holy shit! I'm trying to just scroll down here so I can look at his appearances. Okay. Yeah, no, this is his first appearance here. So I was just making sure we are getting the first appearance of him, but he will show up in a bunch of novels, really. So,
well, I also assume he shows up in the third comic for this little series, right? Crimson.
Yes, he
number
does.
3.
Yeah,
okay.
He does.
Which I did see. I almost read that by accident. Also, I almost read that one first because Marvel Unlimited lists that before the second series for some reason.
Really, that's annoying. Well, he's mostly shows up in novels after this. But yes, he is in the third Crimson Empire. But there's this whole publishing initiative that's starting up like in 1999, like a few months after Phantom Menace comes out, called New Jedi Order, and it's like a whole big series of books called the New Jedi Order that people really like, and I've never read any of them, so I might dive into that. Yeah, but that's where the bulk of his appearances will be.
Cool design, and I'm certainly interested in him, so excited to see how that plays out. Do you like this character overall, do you think? Or you allowed to tell me that?
Well, I mean, honestly, I know what he represents, and I know kind of the concepts that they're introducing into the world by introducing Nominor, but I don't really know anything about him because I haven't. Well, I've read Crimson Empire 3, but I've never read any of those New Jedi Order books. So I don't know. I don't know if I like him or not. I think he's cool in this scary presence.
Yeah, although not too. I mean, he's scary and ominous, but not too threatening. Because there's the moment when I forget who the guy they make Emperor's name is.
Cravius or something.
Cravius, because he's craven. He's a little coward.
Yeah, it's Carivus.
Carivus, okay. Like there's the moment where is there a weed whacker going on? Is that a problem? Okay, well, basically what I was saying is the guy that they make Emperor, the craven cowardice man. I forget his name again.
Carivus.
Well, Nominor, he like grabs Nominor at one point, and Nominor is just like, "Don't ever touch me," or whatever. But then it kind of backs off, and I was like, "Oh, he's gonna get it from Nominor now." But no. Although Nominor is cool when he's like, "Oh, you don't need our help anymore. Well, have a good time when you meet Kirkanos." That's why I say he's a Force user, because he seemed to predict the future slightly, but also I don't know like how he moves through space and operates. So maybe he just knew that Kirkanos was like on his way there or there. So I don't know.
Yeah, and yeah, Kirkanos does eventually execute the Carivus guy.
Love to see it.
Oh yeah, and I guess Nominor would have maybe protected him from Kirkanos if he hadn't have been like, I'm done doing stuff with you.
Who do you think wins in a fight? Kurt Kanos or Mara Jade?
In a fight, like,
To the death.
that's tough because Mara Jade has force abilities, and especially by the time of the end of the Thrawn trilogy, she's been like training lightsaber fighting with Luke and getting better at force abilities. So probably her because of the force. But let's just say there's no force and it's just hand to hand. I think Kirkanos is the better hand to hand combatant.
Okay, interesting. We'll probably never get that fight, but I think that's a pretty, at least somewhat even pairing that I'd like to see go at each other.
Yeah, that's not a bad matchup at all.
I was gonna say Luke or Kirkanos, but I feel like that's very easy. Luke.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could say maybe like Empire Strikes Back, Luke versus Kirkanos. That could be an interesting matchup.
I honestly still think Luke takes it.
Yeah. I don't know. Kirkanos pretty handy with that spear, double-sided spear.
I was wondering because I was thinking about it when I read this comic. I was like, I wonder which this is a question that's like nonsensical almost, but I was like, I wonder which of the Imperial guards that we saw in the Return of the Jedi, or is it Return of the Jedi or Empire Strikes Back that we first see them? Whichever one. I was like, I wonder which one of those guards that in that shot with like Palpatine and Vader is Kirkanos, which like obviously he's not, but like he could be there.
Hey,
could be one of them.
It could be.
Yeah. How many of the Imperial Guard were there like before they got slotted?
I don't know the number, but I think it was around like. It seemed to me like they had like 30 or 40, like somewhat of a big group, and I'm sure like some died and they'd get new ones and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Man, I could be totally wrong though. Like people could be like, "How do you not know how many freaking Imperial Guards there are?" So.
Well, I'm not like that, man. It's okay.
I appreciate that.
They not like us. They not like us.
Oh boy.
Doesn't it just get stuck in your
not really. Not for me. But
Anyway.
I think a cool part of this book that doesn't really have to do with the main plot and is sort of a bit of a side distraction, but I did enjoy these scenes, are when so we mentioned the Xanabar people, and this is just a species of aliens that are like these skinny, tall, blue guys with like very skeleton-y teeth and like no nose and sunken eyes, and yeah, they just look like elongated blue skulls, I
They got
guess.
salad finger hands too.
Oh, you were a Salad Fingers watcher?
Yeah, I think I mean, as many as there were at the time I hit age 15, maybe I've seen up to there, which I think was like 9 of them.
I definitely watched in like 6th and 7th grade. Watched all the ones that were around at that time. I used to think it was so bad. I was like, oh my god, this is like inappropriate. And I like if I got caught watching this, like I would get in so much trouble. Like I can never tell my parents about Salad Fingers.
I got yelled at once for I don't, maybe it was a College Humor or Derek comedy video when those guys were still doing that, where it was like it was a sketch about making like the hand vagina with someone else, and my dad like walked in on me watching that as it was like giving birth. And I got in trouble for watching inappropriate videos.
Nice.
So, yeah.
I used to watch Family Guy. Like my family room was like one room away from the room where we had like the family computer in, and a lot, there were times in middle school where I'd be like, yeah, I don't want to watch TV with the family. I want to just go on the computer and either play Minecraft or watch Family Guy on Hulu. And I would just be so nervous while I was watching it that someone was going to walk in, and I had like stuff up on other tabs to click away to and everything. That I probably wouldn't really enjoy the episodes very much because I was just always scared of someone walking in and checking on me.
Were you not allowed to watch that show in particular, and that's why you had to like be ready to hide it?
Yeah, at least in like 6th and 7th grade, I wasn't allowed to watch it. But
No. Okay. Wow. Helicopter parents. Jeez.
they were a little strict about some stuff like that, but
No. That's good. You turned out to be a fine young gentleman, so they did right.
well, thank you. I mean, I watched all of it anyway. I just had to do secretly.
Okay.
Turned me into a little sneaky guy is what it did.
Okay. I guess you're good at hiding all the terrible aspects of yourself, and you present a very like nice surface level. So that's good. That's worth something at least.
Ugh. Ugh. That didn't feel good, but
It was a compliment.
no, sometimes a look in the mirror is tough.
Like us, they
I've
not.
just about had enough of you.
That's what I'll say to you.
Very good. Hey, we need to get the guy who did the Like Us They Not parody on the soundboard, please, for next time.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, thank you.
I'll edit that down to just
Yeah.
have a little Like Us They Not so I can play that over and over again.
Yeah.
I got this on here too.
Okay, is that Chewbacca?
No, dude, it's Tusken Raiders.
Okay, I'm sorry. I can't distinguish the difference in the screeching these aliens make.
Okay, well, it's pretty iconic.
It's a trap!
There you go.
One more time?
It's a trap!
Who is saying that?
Admiral Akbar, bro. It's a trap.
Okay, I thought it was Lando.
Do you remember when in Return of the Jedi the rebels think they have caught the Empire with their pants down, but really it's a trap?
When? What happened? When?
When they're like amassing the fleet to make the final assault on the second Death Star, and then Palpatine's like, they just fell into my trap. I have all these Star Destroyers hidden, and then they come around.
I do remember that, yes.
Anyway, what I was going to say is a cool part of this book, I think, is when the Xanabar people, right? They have this relationship with Grappa the Hutt that I don't really know. They need live people for like a ritualistic sacrifice thing that's part of their culture, I guess. And
Yeah.
he is constantly wanting to get rid of people that betray him or that he just wants to kill. So he kind of just supplies them with bodies for their ceremonies, and he gives Mira Sin, as well as this other guy that was in the first Crimson Empire. I don't remember his name, but a guy that worked with her and then betrayed her. He gives them to the Xanabar people, and they take them to their home planet of Zo and XO. Assuming that's Zo or maybe Zhou. And Kyrkanos follows to go save Mirith Sin. Didn't know he cared about her like that, but I guess he does. So he goes to save her. And they have like a nice little survivalist. There's a issue where they're kind of just having to escape and survive on that planet. Yeah. And I like that stuff. There's a part where she flies an A-wing and he has to like hang on to the outside of it because there's only room for one person in the cockpit. That's a pretty cool visual to see, just Kyrkanos, total badass, grabbing on the outside of the A-wing while it's flying. Pretty cool. Then, they also have to fight this big worm monster, and that was a pretty good fight. And then he gets rescued by his friend who's flying an X-Wing, and these are just some good scenes, but they don't really have much to do with anything. I guess it's establishing like, oh, he does actually like Mira Sin. He's not just this guy who only cares about the Empire and whatever, and like he always says.
Yeah, I guess they were trying to do like the like promiscuous tension between the two of them, as 'cause she was like, "Well, I didn't want you to save me," like, and he's like, "Well, you were captured," like, and she's like, "Well, someone else, I had other people coming to save me, so I didn't need you to save me," and it's like, "Well, I owe you one. Now I don't owe you one. Now we're even," like that type of thing, which is fine and all, but hard for me to enjoy that as much, knowing that I've read the Thrawn book with Mara, Jade, and Luke basically doing that too, which is like a much better depiction of it. So I kept getting flashbacks to that, and I was like, I like that.
No, you're right. I mean, it is very similar, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. And she even looks pretty much just like, well, I don't know if she looks just like Mara Jade, but they both have like the same red hair and wear like blue clothes. So
Dude, I do think whoever's the artist for a lot of these, or at least like this one with this style, they draw, or like a lot of the women look very similar to me. Like I keep being like, oh, which woman? And then when there's like a clone of the woman, I'm like, come on, guys,
the
this is hard for me.
Dasta, the council woman Dasta or whatever with the gray hair.
Yeah.
She does. Her face looks exactly like Mira Sin. They just have different hairstyle.
Yeah.
So you're right about that. There's I would say, again, we kind of said this in the first one, or at least I did. Paul Galassi, the artist, his style is a little strange. Sometimes I like it, other times I don't. But I guess I just mean on an individual panel basis, and like the way he draws people's faces and stuff.
Yeah.
But the design is a little wonky to me, but I do find them to be good at like communicating emotions with those types of faces. And then also I think his panel to panel action sequences are really strong and like very like moment to moment fights, easy to follow, has like creative cool moves that he makes the characters do, and it's actually like cool fight choreography that we often don't see in comic books, which is really annoying because that's kind of, I think, something they should be good at. But
yeah, I would agree with that. I think the dynamic action is really good, and I do also definitely think that like it's very conducive for like showing how the characters express themselves on the page. I don't like the art style overall, but I will say I do really like it. I particularly don't like the way that humans are drawn, but I love the way that aliens are drawn. I think that is like pretty solid from a character design standpoint. I mean, is it Grappa or Grappa?
Grappa with P's, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. Because at first I thought it was Grandpa. And I'm like, oh, they call him Grandpa. He looked awesome. Yeah, the Xanabar looked awesome. What other little alien guys? There's a bunch of little alien guys running around this one. They
got some some people on the Imperial Council that are different species. Those guys look good.
Yeah. I'm getting the comics mixed up too, though. I don't know if it's the same artist that did the Mara Jade one, but there were some cool aliens in there too. But I'll save that, I guess.
No, that's a different artist. That's Carlos Esquera.
Maybe these Star Wars alien designs are they're popping off. I didn't like the Wolfman in the first movie, but now look at us now. Now we got the Xanabar.
Yeah, those guys are cool. Yeah, I don't know. Any other thoughts about this one? I feel like it's not bad, but it's not nearly as clean or exciting as the first one. I agree. There's not enough Kyrkanos. He fights. He has some cool fights, but he doesn't really have much to do in terms of growth. I mean, there's like a little bit at the very end of him being like, "Hey, maybe the Empire's actually bad," but it's kind of a messy story overall with not too much of a clear focus on what it's trying to go for. But still, I enjoy the world and the characters enough to, and Grappa is definitely a big highlight of this one.
Yeah, I agree. It's not as cohesive, but there's like pretty good moments in here, so still enjoyable overall. Also, the question for you, maybe I missed something. Is there a reason at the end, per Canos, like Sin is like, oh, all the other council members are like jailed right now. Actually, very easy to go just dispose of and kill. And he's like, no, there's been enough killing for today. I was like, oh, why?
I guess, there was like the part where she was like, "Hey, last time I asked you not to kill someone and you did it anyway. It ended in you killing my friend, the Toydarian guy or Trandoshan guy." Um, so that made him be like, "Hey, maybe I don't need to do killing all the time."
Maybe, I guess, but it's like that. It's right after that moment. It's almost like her giving permission because she's like, hey, like, I asked you to spare someone, my friend died, so please, you owe me this. Don't kill the clone. And he's like, he doesn't do it. But then she's like, but all the council members are locked up right now, and you can go kill them.
Yeah. I guess,
Or does he not think they're actually guilty of conspiring against Palpatine? I guess some of those guys technically aren't, right? They're just
no, I
power
think
grabbing.
a lot of those guys were, loyal to Palpatine, and I think he's like sort of wrestling with like, oh, maybe I'll let the New Republic handle it. Maybe I'll see like what's going on with those guys, but
yeah,
I mean, I don't think you're wrong to think it's a little unclear.
It's just he's in like a very interesting position, I think. So I hope the third one really I hope it blasts off with some of this stuff and is really, really good because, I don't know, he's like fighting for a version of the Empire that no longer exists, which I think is really interesting and trying to get like retribution for it. But that does nothing like really on a macro scale to advance anything. So it's just like it's helping the rebels, really.
Right. And I mean, I think in the first one, he really just didn't even care about that at all. He was just like, oh, I just want to kill people and get revenge. I want to kill Carnor Jax and his followers, and that's really all that matters to me. And in this one, now he's a little more like, well, maybe there's bigger things than just that or whatever. But
yeah,
but he's still got those tendencies in him, So, well,
looking forward to the next one.
Me too. These first two series I remember pretty well because this is like my third or fourth time reading these two, and I know I've read the third one time, but I can't remember what happens in that, so I'm excited for it too.
Do you have a favorite of all the comics we've read so far, like up to this point? I know you've read more, so don't include anything in the future, but
okay.
But this stuff?
I mean, it would probably have to be one of the Tales of the Jedi miniseries. And they all kind of blend together.
Yeah.
But I would say my favorite one of those.
Don't you just miss Exar Kun, dude? We got a little call out to him in one of these. Which series was it that we?
It was in the Jedi Academy.
Okay.
one.
Yeah. Okay, we'll talk about that when we get there.
Dude, I think maybe like the Sith War is my favorite one. That's the one where. Yeah, I mean, that's sort of the conclusion of all those storylines, and that's the one that ends with Ulick going to the Masasi Temple and being like, well, I thought I'd be able to feel some force here, but I guess not. And then Exar Kun's face, like, coming out of the darkness and screaming and stuff.
Yeah, awesome stuff.
Yeah, that might be my favorite of the miniseries, but hard to say for sure because I think all of those are really good.
Do we have time for me to ask you another question?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, if you had to exclude the Tales of the Jedi stuff, now what would be your favorite that we've read so far? I think that's a little more difficult a question.
It is. There I would probably go with the Rogue Squadron comic books.
Right. Okay. I forgot you've been reading those.
Or the first Crimson Empire miniseries. I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, Justice for Sadit.
Yeah, that's his name. Nice. Um, yeah, that's probably. I'm looking at all the other stuff we've read real quick here, and I think that, and then hey, I would even throw in the A New Hope manga in there too.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah. Also will say, I mean, I don't think it needed to be 6 issues, but the Mara Jade series that we read for today's episode, I also did enjoy. Like,
Really?
a lot
Okay.
more than I've been enjoying some of the other stuff, I think. Although I say that to the length of it because I didn't enjoy it for like the first 2 issues, which is kind of comic book slog to or
Yeah.
problem, you know. I'm like, but then I started to get it really into it for some reason. I don't know what happened.
Hey,
Flipped
well,
the
I'm
switch on
I'm
me.
I'm glad for you. We can move on to there, but I just wanted to flip that back to you. If because I think it's safe to say, right, your favorites would be the Tales of the Jedi stuff as well.
Yeah, I particularly think the at least first 2 that we read, the Nomi Sunrider stuff, I really liked. Like when
Yes.
yeah, then going like Master Thawne, who
Yeah.
he's my boy, my where's my hug boy. Uh, he's great. So
But if you
yeah,
had
all
to
that's really good.
exclude those, what would you pick?
That's a good question. I don't have everything that we've read up here right now. I feel like there is like one Boba Fett comic though that I really did enjoy much more than some of the other ones, but I'm not sure which one it was.
You might be thinking of Boba Fett, Bounty on Barkuda. Um, Maybe. I don't know. That's the one with the shark guy and the magician Magwit.
That was cool. I did like the art style of that one. I guess they all sort of mimic that art style, but that's not what am I thinking of? I don't remember too many details though. I just have like vague images in my head of some of the action and remembering like this is freaking awesome. Maybe it is that one.
There was good action in the other ones in that series too, like Murder Most Foul, Fat Lady Swings. Um, those were pretty good.
Well, yeah. So maybe one of those. To be honest, though, aside from the Tales of the Jedi comics, a lot of them are like I don't. I think a lot of them are well. There's some bad ones, but a lot of them are mostly just like fine. You know.
Yeah, yeah, I
Um.
agree.
Yeah.
So the second miniseries we read for today is Mara Jade by the Emperor's Hand, and this had me excited because I had read this before, but I had read this at a time before I had read the Thrawn books. So the name Timothy Zahn didn't really mean much to me when I first read this. But seeing his name on the covers, seeing that he wrote another story for us here, I was excited. I was like, okay, the man is back. This
Uh-oh.
guy understands Star Wars. And then also, Michael Stackpole is doing the script on the first few issues. And that's the guy who wrote all the Rogue Squadron stuff. So I like both of these guys.
I feel like you're about
Um,
to make this go downhill all of a sudden.
I found these to be pretty miserable to get through, I'm not going to lie.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah. But I am genuinely happy that you got into them and enjoyed them, and I would certainly like to know your thoughts about it. I don't think it's horrible. I will say just off the bat though that I thought it was super wordy, and I don't mind reading a lot of words. I read real books as well that are nothing but words, okay? So, and also I love, Chris Claremont and Stan Lee comic books that have a ton of words all over the page. They take a long time to get through sometimes, but it's not inherently a bad thing to have a bunch of words on the page. I just felt like these were by and large pretty useless a lot of the times. So many thought bubbles and like explaining things that we could have seen like represented to us visually, and it felt to me like, oh, Timothy Zahn is such a well-respected figure, and I don't know the behind the scenes on this, so this is just conjecture, but what it felt like was, oh, he's got a lot of leeway because of how well the Thrawn books did and how that kind of started off the whole expanded universe thing, that they kind of didn't really edit him maybe at all. And you know, he's a novelist, not necessarily a comic book writer, and it kind of really felt like that to me. And it even felt like I was confused about which bubbles to read first a lot of times, and just some like fundamental structure-y things that were bothersome. But you know, also super convoluted story that I had a hard time following and
there's like
caring
three
about.
parts to it.
Yeah. But I would like to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, well, first of all, I think I said it up front. It should have been like 2 issues shorter. So I do agree with you that it is like pretty lengthy in its dialogue and prose. I think you're probably correct in. I don't know if this is Zahn's first comic that he's done, or this is certainly his first Star Wars comic he's done, right? I don't think we've read anything from him previous to this, but I think it's likely that he was not very edited on it, or he just had trouble moving from a much like more long form, not that comics aren't long form, but in a different sense, a long form like written medium to comics. Because even like from my own experience with having written a comic, I found it super challenging coming from playwriting to comic book writing, because in playwriting, like, and I assume it goes for novels too, brevity doesn't really matter. You can go on and on and on and on, and it can work and it can be fine as long as it still like maintains interest. It's a little, well, it's not even little, it's much harder to do that with a comic, because you're also like trying to balance out the artwork. You're trying to balance out like page, like there's like so many more components of things you have to think about that like just become roadblocks and problems if you wrote too much. And again, I'm saying this because I had a comic and I wrote so much, and I was like trying to piece it into actual like dialogue bubbles and whatnot, and I was like, okay, these take up most of the page now, so
right,
it's like it's hard to start cutting things, and I think that is an issue that pops up here and there in this comic. For what I do really, really enjoy about it, though, is, and it's kind of like, to me, this is something that utilizes a bunch of tropes, really, but it does them in a fun enough and successful enough way that I'm like, okay, I'm fine with it. I'm on board, and it's a fun little Star Wars story. Like, you know, Drig helping her out, who's the bartender that she runs into, gives her a little nice spot to live.
Yeah, I like that part. I like that part.
Yeah, he was like, that's, to me, that is the highlight of the story, and kind of where it should have started. Like, I don't care about any of the stuff where she was like imprisoned, and they're like, oh, she's so cool as she's like measuring the cell and working her way out of there.
Dude. And then they had like the little boxes in the corners of the page that I'm like, what is that adding? Like, seriously. But yeah, I do agree with that. So I would cut that and I'd start the story like as she's leaving that situation, basically. Yeah, that's a good call. Or she could have just gone straight there after like Jabba's palace or whatever.
Yeah. But yeah, for what it's worth, I did really like that Drake stuff. I knew he was gonna die the second he was like a nice character, being endearing and sweet to her. But it's kind of still fun, and I like that she works there for a little bit, and she builds up this rapport with some of the people that come in. There's the one like almost bug rabbit looking dude who's green, who I thought had a really cool design too. That's the one I was gonna mention earlier that I was getting it mixed up.
Oh yeah.
Oh, also the other aliens that are like really cool in that, I think is this the Black Nebula gang? Is that who they are? Yeah. They're like, they look like little earthworm gyms but green. Those guys were cool. I like seeing them. I liked like the way like some of her combat was written and how the moments were portrayed, where it's like he's like, wow, you took out those guys without even knocking over a table or causing any roughhousing in here, really. Like, you know, little subtext about her past identity, her telling him to like go bring her the lightsaber, and he's like, what? Yeah, there's a lightsaber here? Like, a lot of those moments I really, really did enjoy and thought were really fun, and just cool Mara Jade moments. Like, I feel like sometimes some of the moments that are like posited as cool in these comic books, they don't do it for me. They don't reel me in with the cool aspect of it. And Usually because of the art, I think. Maybe. I don't know. Or just like the positioning of how it is in the story. I don't know. But some of this stuff I was like, Mara Jade's kind of cool. I'm kind of more I feel like I thought you were going to really like this one, honestly, because I know you're a big Mara Jade fan from the trilogy at least, right?
I do. I like her a lot as a character, and I was hoping to enjoy these. And I don't know. I like the beats. Some of them, that part, especially when she's in the bar, that's really nice. I just found it to be like a little directionless or confusing, and then it would culminate into nice moments. But yeah, I just think like the structure of it and the actual comic book craft of it held it back a lot for me. But you were talking about cool moments. I mean, this is right at the end, but when she hollows out that bust of Xizor and puts the lightsaber in it, and then remote detonates the lightsaber to go off, and it just shows the art going right into his fucking skull. I was
Dude.
like, okay, that's awesome.
That's one of the coolest lightsaber kills we've seen thus far. Like that was a really, really cool move. Yeah, I like that part a lot too. Although I'll give it to you also. The lead up to get there, like within the casino, was like kind of like pulling teeth a little bit too, where it's like, okay, I have to go through all these layers of people and like all these layers of subterfuge just for like the subterfuge to die down. And she's like, okay. I think her line is literally like, oh, I'm kind of surprised I even made it this far. Okay, guess it's time to fight.
Yeah,
and I'm like, oh, okay. Well, we could have started there, I guess, but still, I enjoyed it for what it was, and I like her little her forced trickery that she uses in that casino. But it does make me question the greater casino standards of the Star Wars universe and how that works.
Oh, dude. I mean, I feel like every single time we get casino stuff, it's always just cheating happens every time.
Yeah, I think she like calls out like, I don't want to go play Sabacc because everyone there is basically already cheating or like an expert gambler, so like there's no way to make money doing that one. I think she plays roulette, is it? Like, or space roulette, whatever.
Yeah, I forget the name of it, but yeah, but she cheats at that, so.
Yeah, well, hey, I like her using her little force abilities for as like little modifiers to do things. I do wish like, well, I don't know, maybe we'll see. Is there another Mara Jade comic coming after this one, I assume?
No. Sorry, excuse me.
Oh,
No,
really?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a little disappointing. I want to see her. I guess maybe this happens in the last two Thrawn books that I didn't read. I want to see her like develop it further and get stronger with it again, because I like the idea of it being a muscle where if you don't practice with it, it grows weaker and weaker.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like nice little details like that in here that I enjoyed.
I think, yeah, you have to go to the novels for that, and I think the new Jedi Order novels that I was talking about, those Mara Jade's in those, and she's in a lot more books. So
I am bummed that you're saying there's nothing next with this, though, because I was expecting at some point there'd be a Talon Card tie-in, and we get to see him and sort of the like how they started working together and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I guess not. That's what I thought this comic was going to be, honestly. But
it's her. Yeah, I thought so too. Her like meeting Talon Card and getting involved with his group and stuff.
Talon Card.
What a suave guy.
Yeah, I miss him. He was cool.
I agree. And his ship, the Wild Card. Oh, Timothy Zahn, you silly guy. But this is, it's really not terrible. I found it to be super tough to read for me.
Yeah, dude, I will say I'm glad you said that, because I was like, maybe it's because this one's 6 issues or something, but it took me forever to read. I was like, damn, I spent a lot of time reading that one. I was like, did I just read that really slow for some reason? But
I mean, Crimson Empire 2, Council of Blood was also 6 issues, and that kind of flew by for me.
Well, that one I will say that was pretty heavy in the start with dialogue and prose, but then towards the end it gets a little more action packed, and issue 4 or 5 of that one I read in like 10 minutes versus the others that took like 20 minutes.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on this one before we move on to Jedi Academy?
No, I'm glad Mara Jade got some justice for her fallen friend.
Hey, me too. Me too.
Bring on the Leviathan.
Hell yeah. Okay, so I was just looking.
Excuse your language.
Dequook, the Black Nebula crime lord. Dequuc. Like, how do you say that name?
Dude, honestly, these names there's so many names that are so, like, they're not common at all. They're super uncommon names that, like, use almost, like, dialect features of made-up languages.
Right.
So they become so hard for me to just, like, get straight in my head. Because we've read so many of these comics now at this point that I'm like, I need a movie again so I can just see the person moving and watch their name get repeated a bunch of times so it can actually be cemented in my head.
That's why the audiobook was nice for Heir to the Empire, because I was going to, like, go back and, like, read some passages from that, and I was like, oh my god, that's how that's spelled? Like, Sparty cylinders and stuff. I was like, oh, I probably would not have pronounced it that way. But
yeah.
No, I totally agree with you. Well, we've got our final mini-series for today. Star Wars Jedi Academy Leviathan. And this is our first look into Luke's Jedi Academy in comic book form, at least. Well, I mean, I guess we got a little bit of it in the Dark Empire stuff, but that was more of the building blocks, the foundation of it. And here it's actually in full swing. This is written by Kevin J. Anderson, who we love from Tales of the Jedi.
Okay.
And he also wrote the Jedi Academy novels, which I have read the first one of, and I'm in the middle of the second one. But, you know, this kind of spoils those books a little bit. It heavily references them, and most of these characters and a lot of the stuff that it's talking about are from those books. So if there was a lot of stuff that you were like, well, what are they talking about? They're from those Jedi Academy books.
Yeah, I figured. Although it didn't seem too critically important. Really, the big, like, gap of knowledge would be, like, oh, there was this dude he's a clone of another dude who was a previous character in the story, I guess. Like
Dorsk 81 and Dorsk 82, bro.
Yeah. So that's the only thing I was like, okay, I don't know who that is, but I got it anyway. I mean, it's like, his deal makes sense anyway.
Yeah. I figured you would not have too much trouble with it, but this would be your introduction to Kip Duron, who's a pretty mild, let's say he's a popular character in some circles.
Interesting. He didn't stand out too much to me, but
I think he's a good character in the books that I've read so far, and I also had a miniature of him when I was a kid, so I always kind of thought he was a big deal because of that. But yeah, we got Luke's new Jedi Academy. We got Streen, Kip Duron, Dorsk 82, and Karana T. And essentially this is...
what about Tiane?
Oh, well, I guess I just meant the people who go on the mission.
Okay,
or go
but she was, like, really cool and critical for
Orbos.
Research and knowledge.
Yeah. Honestly, good call. I don't mean to shortchange anyone. So
sorry, I wanted to call her out because who knows how it works, but, like, that was the character I was like, of this crew, I like her a lot. I like her the most. I don't know why. Something about her resonated, I guess.
Her design is cool. We also have Dario Carrasco Jr. on the art here, and that is who has drawn a lot of the, or at least 3 or 4 of the Tales of the Jedi books.
I do recognize this art style, and I hate to do it to him, but I'm really Again, maybe it's the art, maybe it's the coloring, maybe it's the two things coalescing together. It's not for me. I really
Really?
don't like it. Yeah.
I kind of like it in this. It worked for me, but I agree. I don't like the coloring. The covers again are great. This is David Michael Beck, a different cover artist than we've normally got, but I do think these covers are really cool. So yeah, this story is very simple. It's just about a big monster on a mining colony that kills all these miners and miners ER. And just because we were, doing the
A minor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, that was in the lexicon
Leviathan
earlier. So
killing A minor. Okay.
And Kip Duron is sent along with Dorsk 82 to go take care of this beast.
Dude, I kind of hate Dorsk 82 if I'm being honest.
Yeah, he's annoying and stupid.
Yeah, he's really just like, oh, I don't know if we should be doing this. I don't know if I'm strong, I'm brave enough to do this. Oh, I'm such a coward. I'm so stupid. I'm an idiot. And the other dude the whole time just has to keep hyping it up, being like,
No.
don't talk like that. That's not how Jedis talk. Come on.
And he's like, hey, the Dorsk 81, that guy was badass. So if you've got the same DNA as him, you must be force sensitive and also strong.
Yeah. I don't know about that one.
Yeah.
Maybe
So
he can prove himself.
Doesn't sound like you were too hot on this one.
Actually, I will say, I enjoyed it for what it was. I mean, like you said, it's a very simple story, like pink by numbers. Honestly, it's like this story is essentially what a beginner dungeon master would make for their D&D crew. They'd be like, there was an accident in the mines, and so you all need to go and investigate what this monster could be.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like super, super simple. But I don't know. I thought it was fun still. Like it, and I was trying to remedy this in my head. I was like, this is like a really, really simplistic story, I think. But I'm enjoying it for some reason. And I didn't pay attention to the writer. I think I just like the way Kevin J. Anderson writes stuff.
Yeah, I think he has good dialogue, and it's fast-paced. It has not only fast-paced, but good pacing and actual, like, scene structure. Like, I feel like he understands how to do individual scenes and then have those build into, like, a single issue that starts and ends. I just feel like a lot of comic books don't do that very well, where they'll just kind of go and they'll tell, like, here's 23 pages of the 100-page story we're trying to tell.
Yeah.
But these feel like little episodes, and they flow well. They're well written and well told. So I agree with you there.
Plus, the aspect of the Leviathans that I really liked and was super interested in, I wish there was a little bit more, it was like once they kill people, they absorb their knowledge and capture their soul, basically. Yeah, dude. Like, crazy.
I was about to bring that up. That was so cool. I love the concept of, like, Kip Duron talking about, like, oh, I got all these voices in my head, and then when, he kills the Leviathan and he's got to, like, stab the little, like, it's got physical, like, sacks on its back with, like, ghostly spirits inside of it, and then when he breaks those sacks, like, the spirits float up and are free.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, that's awesome.
Plus, pretty cool revelation of, like, oh, the screams I'm hearing aren't them alive anymore. It's just, like, their souls screaming in pain in there. I was like, man.
This isn't going to be a rescue mission.
Yeah.
But in a way it was, though, because the souls were still all trapped and they needed to be freed to the Force.
Yeah, which also, I was thinking, is that the biggest alien creature monster that we've seen in Star Wars so far? Not the first Leviathan, but the second one?
Like, physical size-wise?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Or is the worm they landed on in that comet bigger?
Yeah, I would probably say the worm is bigger, right?
Or asteroid. What's the difference between a meteor and an asteroid?
I don't know, but I thought that it was like one of them is what it's called when it's just floating around in space, and then another one is what it's called when it's entering the atmosphere and gonna hit.
What's the difference between a meteor, an asteroid, a shooting star, and a comet?
I think shooting stars are meteors.
Okay.
And I think a comet is just a whole different thing. Big ball of gas. I don't know. No, it's also a rock. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know.
Okay. Sitting you with tough questions.
Yeah, I would say that worm is bigger, and then also we've seen the skeleton of the crate dragon in A New Hope. You know, that big skeleton that C-3PO and R2-D2 stand in front of.
True. Yeah. Well, just the skeleton though.
Yeah. So I don't know if that counts, but I just wanted to shout it out. But they're definitely bigger than rancors, and
oh yeah, I think they mentioned they're like, this ain't a rancor. I think they say that like that.
They do. They say it just like that. And Kirana T would know a thing or two about rancors because she actually rode them on Dathomir.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah.
So she's pretty cool.
Yeah. She's cool. That's really all I was gonna say that stood out to me too, was that aspect of the monster stealing memories and absorbing the souls of the people it killed. It's pretty cool concept. Another nice little Force concept from Kevin J. Anderson there.
The lightning strike on the first Leviathan is also a very awesome moment when like Kip's able to pull that off.
Mm-hmm.
That's a sick full page beauty. I like that art. That art looks really good there.
Yeah, I agree. That's a very cool part. And then it's a little bit lamer how they take out the second one, because it's just Dorsk 82 being like, well, if we connect all these power couplings to it, and then they also just electrocute it again. But I know they want to give him a win and make it be like, see, he was actually really smart and figured out how to do stuff in a different way. But it's not very cool.
Dude, I know that there's really no subtext for this in the book, but I get the overwhelming sense that all the other Jedis in training also dislike Dorsk 82. I don't know. I'm just like, I could tell something about it. I was like, they don't want him there. They're like, they're placating him. Kip, genuine maybe, but the rest are like, oh my god, Dorsk 82 showing up. I miss Dorsk 81.
This guy.
Yeah.
I don't think you're wrong. I also don't think there is subtext for that in the comic, and I think if there was, it would almost definitely be presented as like, but they need to learn that he's actually cool, and like by the end they realize like, oh, we like you, you know.
Everyone has their own unique strengths that play a part in the battle.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I don't think it would ever be like, yeah, he was like too weird, so we just decided to like not hang out with him anymore, which is I don't think that makes you a bad person. But in a story like this, that would be what bullies and bad people would do. So.
Now, really tough question for you. Who do you think would win a fight, him or Kirkanis?
Dorsk 82 or Kirkanis?
Dorsk 82 or Kirkanis, yes.
Fight to the death. Man. Hey, if Dorsk 82 had a power generator and some cables, who knows? Who knows what would happen?
Also, I don't know explicitly what happened with his last clone, or the original, I guess. But they said that dude made himself so open to the Force that he like just turned into energy and exploded or something.
Yeah. That's from the Darksaber book, which I have not read. But I'm pretty sure that's another Kevin J. Anderson book. So yeah, I haven't read that, but that is what they said. That is what they said.
Dude, okay, I have to. We've done it before, but I've got to compliment Kevin J. Anderson because now I'm like, this dude's so good at world building. He's actually phenomenal at it. I mean, because we briefly mentioned this earlier, like the little mutated creature that's venomous on Yavin 4 that they run into, and they're like, oh, it's basically just like an old effect of Exar Kun's.
Oh,
like
yes.
What he was doing on that planet. Like, just throwing that little detail in there, I think is so wonderful for world building. And Kevin J. Anderson does that all the time.
Yeah.
He does it all the time.
He's constantly like connecting things through back and forth and everything. Yeah, and Exar Kun is a big part of the those Jedi Academy books. His spirit. I mean, it was mentioned like his spirit latches on to Kip Duron and turns him to the dark side for a little bit, and then he's redeemed and comes back. But
Dude, I wish they'd do prequel movies.
that's what the people are clamoring for.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
There's a little there's buzz about this?
Yeah, but that's what the Acolyte show is, at least in time period. Takes place before the prequels.
Nice. I heard that's really good, right?
Yeah, it's amazing.
I don't know what to think about some of the Disney Plus shows because again, I think we've talked about this before, but like I don't know what is an opinion just from like anti-woke, like no matter what type folks, or like what is genuine like media criticism, and it's like hard for me to parse through it without watching the thing and like being immersed in the discussions on it, and with the context of what I know with Star Wars, it doesn't help. So it's hard for me. I don't need to think about that yet, I guess is what I'm saying.
Well, I mean, I guess I'll say briefly, and I know I've talked about this before, but the Acolyte definitely had a huge backlash from anti-woke people just hating it automatically because of some of the content in there, and it's very like women-focused show. And then that also created an environment where now people felt the need to defend it and be like, no, it's actually very good. No, it's not. It's not good. But it's not bad because it ruins Star Wars canon. This also just had all the fanboys angry because there's a few things that people point to as like, oh, this breaks the continuity from other stuff. And maybe, but I don't really think so. And it also doesn't really matter to me that much. And so, that's what people argue about are like these little plot details. And it's like, but guys, the quality of the show is bad. The acting and the dialogue and the visuals and the pacing and the story are all bad. So why do we even care about, getting into like this one little thing like, oh, this ruins Star Wars. Like, no, it doesn't ruin Star Wars. It's just a bad show.
Yeah.
I don't like it. It has some genuinely good lightsaber fights in it though. I will say that.
Oh, okay. Very cool. Well, one of these days we'll get there and I'll be able to form my own opinion on it.
Yeah. But anyway, all that to say is yes, people want movies in the Old Republic time for sure.
They should just obviously don't carbon copy it, but like they should definitely look to the Tales from the Jedi stuff. I know that's like not canon anymore. Technically, is what you said before. Like they switched some stuff up, but hey, we can always fix things and fold things back in.
For sure, they have their whole High Republic thing now, which is the new canon version of the era before the prequels, and I don't really know about any of that stuff. I haven't touched that stuff personally. A lot of books and comic books in that realm within the last couple of years. It's a pretty new thing they've been diving into, but
dude, at some point I want to go through our list and just like I want a page count on how much Star Wars content I've consumed, like comics, book, and then maybe time for shows and movies and anything like that. I just want to know how much of my life is now consumed by Star Wars media that we're not even scratching the surface of.
Yes, seriously. And even with this, we're skipping all the novels, and like that would be like the meatiest part of it,
God, man, it could have been 2 years before we get to the prequels, probably.
Yeah, if we read every book. Which sounds fun to me, but also I don't want to do that to you or to the listeners.
It just takes too long also. I mean,
yeah.
I think I started the first Timothy Zahn one like a month or two before we even started. We did that recording. So
Right.
It would be like that for all of them because guys, believe it or not, I actually read more things than just Star Wars. So there's also not enough time in my day to be reading everything.
Yeah, well, me too. Okay, I'm
I don't
reading.
know.
I'm reading The Last Watch right now. It's a good novel.
Okay. Have you seen the prequel? Or read the prequel? I'm sorry. You read the prequel to that book? Who's it by?
J.S. Dews.
Yeah, there's a prequel to that.
There's a prequel book?
Yeah, the first watch.
Oh, wow. Mr. Funny Guy.
Okay, not my best.
I've just about had enough of you.
Okay, all right. There, man.
You earned that one.
Yeah. It's bad to hear it from C-3PO, too. That's how you know, like, you need to shut the hell up. All right.
No.
No, message received loud and clear.
Yeah, no, I just, I'm always, like, slow to the draw and then feel like such a jackass.
I'm sorry, because I try to intentionally bait you in by being like, oh, who's the author? Let me double check.
Like,
and
oh,
then...
I actually know about this, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, you're good at it. You're good at it.
Well, that's why you pay me the big bucks to be here.
Hey, exactly. I also just wanted to say real quick, I was looking at least for Marvel, Timothy Zahn did do 3 issues of a Star-Lord miniseries before he did the Mara Jade books in 1996. But that was a very different Star-Lord than, what we know.
Before the Abnett and Lanning switch up. Dude, I feel like that's got to be bad. I don't know.
Oh, it's probably boring. I don't.
Maybe I'll have to check it out, though, on my own time.
Yeah, it's on Marvel Unlimited, I think. Yep, it is. Man, yeah, even these covers just do not look exciting. But anyway, anything else about Leviathan?
Nah, sort of like we said, super, super simple story. Did not hate it, though. Pretty neutral on it, and enjoyed it for the quick little tale of the week type style it was, I guess.
Yeah, me too. Now we got some more comics next time that I think are a little more fascinating. But we shall see, because I've read one of these more recently, and the other ones I haven't read since I was like 12, so I don't know.
Yeah,
but we'll
don't
see.
trust that opinion.
No, you shouldn't. All right, well, let's move on then. We'll wrap it up pretty soon here, because I'm sure we don't have too much to say about these next things. But did you get a chance to watch any footage of the Star Wars Droid Works game?
I did. I got pretty bored by it quickly, so I skimmed through the 3-hour, I guess, playthrough that there is of it.
Yeah.
So really didn't see too much of it. I do I do think the intro is really funny with the Jawa that's like talking you through things and sounds.
Yeah.
Am I getting the right duck? Like Donald Duck? Sounds just like Donald Duck for some reason. Yeah, I don't know. Strange, but looks fun actually. I feel like I would enjoy playing it.
Me too. I watched a guy make a little 15-minute video about it, because I also saw those big playthroughs and was like, well, maybe this will give me a better feel of an opinion on it or whatever.
Yeah, that probably was a better idea.
I would have sent it to you, but I just watched it today, so I forgot. But the reason why I guess this is even significant to us at all is it is a game from Lucas Learning, which we have not talked about before, and the only reason why I care about it at all is because it was a top-down initiative from George Lucas, that he always wanted to use interactive media as a way to be educational to children. And he was feeling like, hey, I'm very happy with what LucasArts has turned into. Not only have they made critically acclaimed Star Wars games now, but also huge in the adventure game space. Monkey Island, Day of the Tentacle, all that stuff. Grim Fandango. Big, critically acclaimed, successful games. But he felt like, oh man, all these kids are playing all these video games and they're not learning anything. So how can we trick them?
Okay, George.
Yeah, I know. So it's just worth mentioning because it is part of like a whole new subunit of LucasArts designed to make educational games for children. So,
Okay,
and I
well,
agree.
Nothing wrong with that, I guess.
No, as long as you don't stop making the other kind of games, which they don't. It looks pretty fun though. You essentially just have to solve puzzles, but you do it in a 3D space. It uses the same engine as Jedi Knight Dark Forces 2, which is interesting. And you get to build your own little custom droid and then go around helping other droids with little tasks, calculating velocity and mass to like launch them across gaps, using counterweights to like get an elevator to go up, using magnets to move stuff around. And I don't know, I think if I was a kid I would like it.
If you're someone who got interested in STEM from playing the Droid Works game, we want to hear from you.
Absolutely.
Send us an email, we'll have you on the podcast, and we'll talk about it.
And like a lot of these edutainment games, in the pause menu you can like go and just read like long descriptions about the force of gravity or velocity, or and then they also just have a list of like different elements that you can read about, different materials and things like that.
Actually, I'm getting more on board with this. I do think like to get kids interested in science, doing it through sci-fi is like probably a pretty compelling way.
Yeah, I mean, I did not play this when I was little, but having a Star Wars wrapper on anything as a kid would make me want to spend time, digging into it. So I think it maybe worked. I don't know.
My life could have been different if I was a Star Wars kid and I played this game.
You would be a scientist. You'd be
Now
a
I'm
physicist.
Now I write and I do comedy stuff.
Yeah, and that's so awful. That's awful. That's awful, like OFFAL, like pig slop.
Spell that again?
Is that how it's spelled? OFFAL? Yeah. Awful. It's like entrails or like wasted material of meats that like is not very desirable to eat.
Holy shit, Jackson. Fold it back into edutainment, making our own podcast a little edutainment experience. We just taught everyone. That was a sketch that we pre-planned, and we just taught you something. Bet you didn't think you'd learn something today, did you?
Yeah.
Jackass.
Wow, I love looking right into the camera for that.
Talk to the fans.
Hey fans, I don't think you guys are jackasses, but I did want to teach you a new word.
Okay, he's going off script from the sketch that we wrote to make me look like the bad guy. But okay, I guess I'm Darth Ryan, and he's. Oh, you're not Master Jackson anymore.
Oh no, damn. All right. There we go.
Okay, nice.
What were you about to say? Did I forget to put a space in there? A
No.
pop-up came up on my computer while I was typing, okay?
I would never be so judgmental over something so minute. That's not my style, dude. I don't just find a little fracture in the foundation and pick at it till it crumbles. That's not what I do. I'm not that guy.
Okay.
You don't know the power of the dark side.
Hell yeah.
Oh, and you can hear the music in the background. Beautiful.
Really good rendition you just had right there.
Thank you. I thought so too.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, let's move on to the final topic for today. Star Wars Incredible Cross Sections. Did you get a chance to look at this book?
No, could you tell from my head tilt I was surprised that there was something else.
Oh, there's something else?
Yeah. No,
Oh, that's
sorry.
okay.
I didn't. I guess I missed. I thought it was just the comics and Droid Works. Sorry.
No worries.
What was this last thing?
It's called Incredible Cross Sections. And
Oh, right. Okay.
it's written by David West Reynolds and illustrated by Hans Jensen and Richard Chasemore. And this is just the first of a series of these books that they'll do. These are like big books that are only, 20-ish pages long, and they just have super detailed cross sections, descriptions, and paragraphs of info about all the different ships in Star Wars.
This is cool.
Yeah, it's really cool art. I wanted to include this because we're not going to look at all of these because even though they are quite cool, but I just wanted to include this as the first one because I did always, when I saw these at the library, borrowed them and would pore over like these diagrams of the ships for a long time when I was little.
Yeah.
And I think it does have some pretty interesting stuff. And I just want to highlight on the page about the TIE fighters, which it's cool to just learn like little things about the companies that make these ships and like the history behind them a little bit. Just builds out the world a little more, and they get a lot of that from the role-playing game source books and stuff, but they have this little side box about some info about TIE fighters, and there's this thing. This is just an example of the kind of stuff they talk about in this book. Pilot psychology. TIE fighters lack landing gear, a measure designed to reduce mass for maximum maneuverability. While the ships are structurally capable of sitting on their wings, they are not designed to land or disembark pilots without special support. This teaches the pilots to rely completely on higher authority. And, I think that is really, really cool when you can blend the design of stuff that, like, yeah, all the ships in Star Wars look super cool. Like, and we've talked many times before, complimented the realistic aspect of most of the mechanical workings of Star Wars.
Yeah.
And how it seems like it could actually work and exist. And I think this just takes it to that extra step of like, oh, like, why would they look like this, though? Like, beyond them just being a cool design. I know they thought about that when they first designed it, at least to a certain extent. But I think when you can fully blend, like, the themes of your story into the design of the ships, even, like, that's awesome.
Yeah, Star Wars goes pretty crazy with this, honestly. It's almost like, wow, you guys did... I mean, it paints out the corners of the universe, I guess, and really, like, elevates just the world building of it. But it's like, man, you guys did so much extra work. Like, and I'm not saying that in a bad way. It's, like, appreciated that they put all that time and thought into it. But for most people, probably not even a blip on their radar, some of, like, the domino reasons behind things, like, that they're even thinking about. But it's, like, it's awesome that it's there for people who want to do stuff like we're doing and, like, do a big deep dive into like how things operate and work within the universe, and just comparing it for like the two sides of the coin, like in universe stuff versus like the out of the universe stuff, where they actually had to like start piecing and forming these things together. Because I imagine, like you said, a lot of it's from the role-playing game, but a lot of that stuff is also probably from like prop designer notes that they're just building upon for a lot of these models and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there's tons of written details about like, okay, this is kind of the intention here, then the writer just takes that and sort of extends it further and puts it in like one of these books, which I think is really cool.
I think you're probably absolutely right about that. And yeah, one of the many things I just love so much about Star Wars is like you said, it can totally work as if all you do is watch the movies and you don't really think about like, oh, what company built the X-Wings and when did the Rebel Alliance get them? Doesn't matter, really, to the story of the movies. However, if you want to immerse yourself in this world and start thinking about it as a, real world or whatever, and you start going down lines of logic and things like that, it's nice to have answers to those things that actually make sense and are well thought out and stuff. And it's not like every single thing is so well thought out and genius and perfect, but I just really appreciate the level of detail.
Yeah, I do also think if I was a kid and was into Star Wars, sort of like you mentioned at the library, picking them up, I would go nuts for a book like this. Just looking at the images that I just saw, it looks pretty cool. I'd be like saving my quarters and nickels to go to the Scholastic Book Fair and get one of these.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that crazy how back when we were younger, books only cost like a quarter and a nickel? Nuts.
I don't remember that. How old are you?
And inflation, am I right? Crazy.
Yeah. They had Scholastic Book Fairs in the 20s?
Yeah.
No, I never owned any of these, but I did check them out like multiple times, and they'll make several of these books, and they're, very high quality. And I like seeing the inner workings of all the ships and things. It's cool. They got a big like double page spread about the Death Star in there.
This will be on my list of things to pick up if I ever come across it in a thrift store. That and the Boba Fett pop-up comic. I want to see that so badly.
Yeah. Because I made your ass look it up.
Yeah. It's just the same thing.
Well, that's all we've got on the docket today. Any thoughts before I let people know what's up next?
Yoda, play him out with Not Like Us. No, I have nothing. I have nothing else.
If I still had that tab up and open, I would have played it, but I don't. So next time we've got a big video game to talk about. Next time will be our potentially our last episode before Phantom Menace. So hey, you got to prepare your prediction for this episode, for the next episode.
I'll write it on the plane ride back to you, Jackson.
Hell yeah! But I'm saying on the next episode, so that we can end it with your Phantom Menace prediction.
Oh, that's what you want to do. Okay, I wasn't sure because before, I guess the last time we did it was the first episode, so it was a little different. I wasn't sure if you wanted that as like us to watch it and then me read it after I watched it, or whatever. I could do it before.
I mean, I guess either way would work, but I think it would be fun to close out the episode leading into Phantom Menace with your predictions.
Okay, cool. That works.
So that's a teaser for next episode. That's how it'll end. But the actual content, we got a big video game, Star Wars Rogue Squadron, for the Nintendo 64, and I was just streaming this one a few days ago and beat it. Really, I would say, give this a play for a couple hours if you have time, because I think you'll find it to be pretty fun.
Okay.
I think it's a great game, but we can talk about it more next time. Also, we will have 4 little mini-series. We've got, for the first time ever, just an ongoing series called Star Wars. What am I saying? For the first time ever. The Marvel comic did that right away at the beginning. But for Dark Horse, it's their first ongoing one that's just called Star Wars.
Wow, surprising actually it took them so long to get to it. Although I can appreciate their strategy too of what they've been doing with these little miniseries.
Yeah, I agree. I would have expected that to be like one of the first things, but I guess they want to like test it out before they do a huge long series. Even though this doesn't end up being that huge and long, but I think Rogue Squadron is the only other ongoing that they have. That's
what is
not
this, like 12 issues? Is it that little or?
No, it's more. I think it's around 30.
Okay. All right, that's a pretty good run.
But it's interesting because it came out before the Phantom Menace, at least the first 4 issues of it, and it follows a character that we will meet in Phantom Menace.
Is it Natalie Portman?
No.
Okay. I don't know her character's name. Sorry, Ray. No. Maybe is it Ray?
No. That's
Right.
Daisy Ridley in the new movies.
Oh, okay. Your no almost made me think it was yes. That was like a no. That was it. Okay. Yeah.
No, I was just like, no, it's not Rey.
No, no, you idiot. Be honest. That's what you wanted to say. No, you stupid idiot who doesn't know
No,
anything about Star
no.
Wars.
It's just I'm not a big fan of.
I know everything there is to know about you. You do? You do.
Oh,
Hey,
God.
Sin and Kurt Kanos, kind of a Rey and Kylo Ren, am I right?
Yeah, dude. Good point. It's a good point. So we'll have that, and it does take place like kind of just right before Phantom Menace, so that'll be a nice lead in to it.
Wait, I'm sorry, you got me intrigued. Is it a character that I've met already, or is it a character that is going to be in the prequels but has not shown up at all yet?
Yeah, it's a new character that you have not met.
Do you
but
know
we'll-
if I know who this character is, just in general?
I very much doubt it.
Oh, okay, interesting.
I
So
don't.
it's
I don't
not-
know for sure, but
It's not Mace Windu then either.
no. It's honestly funny. No, I won't say anything else about it. I'll let it. I'll just let it go. But I don't think you know who this is.
Okay.
Then
Boba
we
Fett
have.
Jr.? Sorry.
Well, no, but we've got Boba Fett, Enemy of the Empire, a little 4-issue Boba Fett miniseries.
Dude,
So
see, this is
hopefully-
why I'm saying I'm psychic. I knew you were going to say Boba Fett. That's why I said Boba Fett right before. Don't you think that's interesting? Don't you think there's something to that in the universe?
I did think that was interesting. That's why I said, hey,
Okay.
wow. I mean, it's not Boba Fett Jr., but that's wild you would say that because I was about to say Boba Fett.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I make your outro so difficult. I'm really sorry. I just keep
I don't
keep
care.
keep interjecting.
No, dude. I'm totally not annoyed at all by it. I would rather it be a conversation with interjections than
Chop,
just.
chop.
Okay.
I'm
Well,
sorry. I'm sorry.
then so sorry. Let me just. I'll cut this out. But
Threw him off. I threw him off. He's way off now. He's good. Fine where he was on a script.
God damn it, you're right. You got me.
He's clicking.
Stop, dude. Leave me alone, bro.
Lewd. Lewd.
Lewd. No. Oh my god. I was trying to say, look, dude.
Okay.
Now I just want to
Cracking me
curl
up.
up into a ball. Okay, but this will be written
BB-8?
by. I'm gonna strangle you. Written by John Wagner, who wrote the other Boba Fett comics that were better than. Those were the better of the Boba Fett comics.
Okay.
In my opinion. Then we also have a comic miniseries called Vader's Quest.
Ooh.
Now this is a story that takes place right after the first movie. Takes place in between the first two movies. It's written by Darko McCann,
Cool
who we have not seen before. However, it is drawn by Dave Gibbons, the artist of Watchmen. So
Wow.
that's kind of cool.
Yeah, very cool.
And then finally, we have The Empire Strikes Back manga. Let's go!
Yeah!
Let's get hyped for that!
I am, dude. I'm ready. I'm ready for it.
Dude, it should be
Trying to
cool.
think of the amazing, how they're gonna do the amazing Vader and Luke standoff battle.
Dude, I'm so excited to see pretty much every moment of that movie. Hoth,
Yeah,
Yoda training,
I
Vader
want to
battle.
watch that movie again. I know I just watched it recently, but I want to watch it
Oh,
again.
it's just so damn good. Oh,
Yeah, that's a good one. That one tugs at my heartstrings the most. That's why it's so good.
me too. You're trembling. I'm not trembling. I happen to like nice men. I am a nice man. No, you're not.
Longtime viewers of the podcast, correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't Jackson very early on say he hates quoting things like from movies and whatnot. It's like he doesn't like the quotables of Star Wars, and yet I think we've seen it consistently now, episode after episode. He just can't help himself. He just has to, when something comes up, he has to just regurgitate it out like vomit, dude. Star Wars vomit.
Wow. I think more so I was saying I don't love like the terms of like, Han shot first and these aren't the droids you're looking for and stuff that would be put on a bumper sticker.
Never tell me the odds.
Yep, stuff like that.
Okay, but so the ones that you don't do.
I can say whatever I want, even those ones, because I get to. Those are the rules.
No hate. I just like to point out hypocrisy. But I personally, I would love to see you do basically a version of the whole movie.
I'm thinking about doing just like a one-man stage play where I roll through all 3 of the original movies, playing every single character and just like rapidly going through all the dialogue and like jumping around and doing impressions and stuff like that.
Look, dude, I don't know how that's probably a joke, but like that genuinely sounds appealing to me. I would love to watch that. If you did like a complete works of William Shakespeare abridged type show with just the Star Wars trilogy, dude, I'd be in the audience. Hell, man, I'd be your stand-in Chewbacca on stage if you want. If you only need me to play Chewbacca, I'll do it for you. Put me in a little fur.
That would be pretty funny to do every character except for Chewbacca and just have you do that.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't know.
Get writing, dude. UCB will take that.
They might.
I think they would, dude, for real. I mean, half jesting, but that's the type of sorry, this is way off topic, but if you notice, like, UCB will be like, okay, I think this is how teams get shows sometimes. They'll be like, okay, there's a movie out right now that's like a big hit, like Transformers, and then like the show will be like Transformers Prov. It's like, oh, okay.
Right. Yeah, they did that with Dune for sure.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I was half joking, but I have genuinely thought about that before, so
I support it. I think it's a cool idea.
Could be fun.
Hey, you want to go halvesies, man? Let me know.
Hey, that would be really fun, actually. Might be easier to do with 2 people.
Yeah, I think it would be really challenging with just one person.
But I also
2
think
or 3
it
would be perfect.
Funny to like jump back and forth between a conversation between 2 people and just like rapidly do like the 2 different impressions. Be like, you're trembling. I'm not trembling. I happen to like nice men. I'm a nice man.
I think you could do it too, honestly. Guys, Jackson's actually very cool and talented. So
Wow.
you heard it here first from Darth Ryan.
Yeah, dude. The guy who's always just kind of on my ass.
Yeah. Well, that's a little compliment to close us out here.
Hey, I appreciate that. Well, yeah, that's everything that we're talking about next time. I guess I'll just roll through it real quick again. Rogue Squadron, the video game. Star Wars, issues 1 through 4. Boba Fett, Enemy of the Empire. Vader's Quest. And Star Wars manga, Empire Strikes Back. That'll be next time. Now, let's end it with our famous outro.
Whoa! Rats.